I'm going to call Roger Bagnall up to the stage. You know, this is a moment of transition, and actually, your talk, I think, corresponds really to the heart of some of Roger's work. So I don't know whether that was a coincidence or planned, but anyway, there's a real connection here. So it's my somewhat nostalgic but happy duty to pass on to my successor. Am I supposed to bang this? Okay. I guess I anoint you the next president of the APS.
It's one of the great pleasures, of course, of being part of this wonderful society, that one meets wonderful people. Linda and I were classmates in election and induction, and there could be nothing more wonderful than to have her as my predecessor and, of course, continued advisor. Because one of our great features is that past presidents don't go away. They are always invited to continue to be part of the council. So we will continue to draw on her wisdom for many years to come. And now, before I invite you to lunch, it's my pleasure to invite another past president, Clyde Barker, to come up to the stage.
My very distinguished predecessor.
Well, as Roger has said, she's not going anywhere, so my remarks, which are to be brief.
Are you wired up? Can people hear? You need a mic. Okay.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Well, my brief remarks are not in the nature of goodbye, but of the nature of well done. Linda, of course, is the 37th APS president and the first woman to hold this office. And she's faced challenges that I don't think any other president, at least not in my memory or the memory of anyone here, knows about with regard to the pandemic, which necessitated having meetings virtually, and 4 of these, I think, were held virtually, and they were superb meetings, but they can't take the place of being together. And Linda's performance in holding the membership and the staff together during these difficult times is evidenced by the emergence of the society virtually unscathed, really, such as a meeting that we have today with the attendance that we have. It's wonderful to be together again. She has made commitments during her presidency to issues that the APS has for too long avoided or remained silent in, such as diversity in the staff, membership, officership, so on. And diversity in another area, which is, I think, perhaps most difficult to address. You know, the old saw is that the average age of the APS is deceased. And she's made a commitment to lowering the age of election of members.
You could read that 2 ways.
And she supported this new era in publications, which I think will come about with the partnership with the University of Pennsylvania Press. And initiated plans for finding Patrick Spiro's successor, which will be a big job. Now, just a few things of a personal nature. I think Professor Schultzen, in his keynote address, said it was all right to introduce something personal in an essay or presentation, so I'm going to do that just for a minute. Linda, of course, has been best known for her 20 years of reporting for the New York Times, during which she
Actually,
was
50.
taking a very objective objective point of view, as she modestly said in her autobiography. But then in 2008, she went back to teaching at Yale and writing an op-ed. And the op-ed, I would say, has added value on much value in being different than what's online that you can find every morning in the New York Times. And although I'm a surgeon, you probably wouldn't believe this, I do take the New York Times, but I've usually just turned right to the sports page. And since Linda has been writing, I have changed, and I've read her work there and enjoyed it. And for me, as a surgeon, it's been exciting reading, Linda. In fact, a few years ago, it encouraged me to go out and buy another of your books. And this one is a wonderful story. It's about two boyhood friends, school friends, elementary school friends, who grew up. The first one was nominated for the Supreme Court as the Chief Justice, and then his boyhood friend also got nominated. They were both conservatives, but as the story evolves, the second one, who was expected to just follow the lead of the first one, actually decided that he was his own person and began to change. And he evolved in the direction, I don't know how far in the direction, but in the direction of being a liberal instead. And now this sounds like a Hollywood melodrama to me, doesn't it? And then one of them died, and it's with great pathos and grief that the other one is described as missing his friend, even though they were rivals and enemies professionally, in a way, never personally. So it would have made a great movie, and maybe it still will. And this book, Becoming Justice Blackmun, is a great read, and I would recommend it to all of you. It's got the whys, the paths not taken, what's next, all of the things that epitomize Linda's column that she's been writing for the last few years. Now, I don't want to go too far. This hasn't made me a better surgeon. But it's made me a better writer and a better reader, and I'm thankful for that. Linda's not just a journalist, as she modestly claims in her autobiography. I don't know whether I'm borrowing this from Professor Schultzen or from Kitty Kelly, who usually writes biographies about people like Frank Sinatra. But one or the other of them, I think it was Kelly actually, that said that calling Linda just a journalist would be like saying Secretariat is just a horse. And then I would extend that to saying it would be like saying Fred Astaire is not just a dancer, or that Roger Federer is not just a tennis player. So Linda is not just the APS's first woman president.
Not the last, I hope.
She's terrific, and we really are going to miss her as president. absent, but we will not be missing her because she still will be with us, I know. And we're all very much in debt for her wise and dedicated service. And to acknowledge your good work, Roger and I are pleased to present you, Linda, on behalf of your fellow members and the Society staff, the traditional APS Jefferson Cup, it says here.
That's it.
And for you and Jean to enjoy at your leisure in evenings accommodation and dining at the acclaimed Inn at Little Washington, which I understand is quite a thing. Linda, would you like to say a few words?
Okay, well, um, well, it was a great honor to follow Clyde in this capacity, and a great pleasure to have Roger following me. So I'll just say, for those of you who don't know, it's a 3-year term, once renewable, term limits, and it's been really the great ride of my life. Clyde gave me much too much credit in navigating the society through the pandemic because it really was the staff. I came to this position not like most people in the APS who are lifelong academics, which I'm not. I worked in a very corporate structure, the New York Times, for 40 years as a full-time journalist there. And so I have some idea of hierarchy and staff and that kind of thing. And I've never seen a staff as dedicated to the mission of this place and talented in carrying out their own particular missions. So seriously, I mean, no presidency could survive, let alone thrive, without them. You know them. You see Annie standing here. You see Nora sitting here. You've seen others less visible to us, but all of them. So I thank them very much, and I thank the indulgence of the society for letting me try very hard not to make things any worse and hopefully make them a little better in the last 6 years. Thank you.
Picture